Hello everybody, we are the Geeks and Degenerates. I am Enzo, this is my forever co-host John, and today we wrap up our discussion on X-Men 97 because, my goodness, it's not every day that a show comes back and does better than it ever did before, in my opinion at least.
I agree.
Yeah.
Holy shit, this probably last half of the TV series
Yeah.
did so much.
Yeah.
Did so much more than, in my opinion, majority of the X-Men movies ever did.
Right?
And I'm extremely happy that this show kind of went in this direction. I don't know what it is or what is up with like TV series, but like especially like animated ones when they kind of have the same somewhat formula, but they're executing it way better than the live actions.
Yeah.
And not gonna lie, in this one they did, and we'll get there when we get there. But you know, like, holy shit, it was good.
Yeah. Before we get into the juicier bits, the first thing we'll address is that Charles is alive. He's alive and well in the Shi'ar Empire, and you're like, then what's with all the shenanigans? Okay.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
Right?
I was like, okay, the man pretty much had this whole like big boss Metal Gear Solid thing. Like, I'll entrust you with my things, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. I don't know why he was walking here, and they didn't explain why he was walking. And then when he got back, he can't walk again.
Yeah, I see. So much for love. He's not like my darling. Can I keep the legs, please? It's pretty neat. I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole shenanigans wrap up, and then we get to the next episode with Rogue going Rogue, and you're like, oh Jesus Christ! This is why I liked you so much in the previous series.
Yeah, Rogue here like just goes ham.
Yeah.
Like just taking out everybody, and especially like on a manhunt on like who's responsible for
Genosha.
Genosha, and like
Yeah.
it's very fun to see Rogue just go like this.
Yeah.
Because again, our introduction to Rogue first time is like Rogue just takes powers, then uses them for a bit, and that's it.
Yeah.
Doesn't really do much. She doesn't fly. She doesn't have super strength. Here, I'm like, girl, calm down.
Right? Taking out Metal Gears too, you're like, Jesus Christ. Holy smokes.
Yeah, dude.
Like, you're not even America's top cop, Steve Rogers, Captain America could stop her. Like, when I saw the motorcycle, I was like, wait a minute. Is that Steve Rogers?
Yeah, and then, like, you just see the shield. I was like, whoa!
Yeah.
And, like, they're just talking. It's like, hey, it's out of my jurisdiction. We gotta play it by the rules. Oh, well, if you're gonna play it by the rules, fine. You're not gonna need this then. And she just throws the shield God knows where. I was like...
Yeah. All this while the X-Men are still recuperating from Genosha. They're trying to do peacekeeping. They're trying to clean up after the aftermath, and then they get wind from Trask that something's up, and then they get Rogue after Nightcrawler has this heart-to-heart of... He basically says, you're not the cause for Gambit or Magneto's death. You're the reason they live, and you're like, why did this show hit as hard as its heroes? Why, God, why? And then they encounter Trask, who you discover their new Sentinels, and he quotes Oppenheimer, and he says, I have become dead, because the Sentinels are like way into the future, and you're like, that's odd. How did they get this? And then Trask is like, I'm not telling you, peace. And he tries to jump. Rogue's like, nah, I'm not done with you. Tell me what happened. What else do you have to explain? He's like, I got nothing. And she's like, yeah, me neither. Just drops him, and you're like,
I was like waiting for like one of the X-Men to be like swoop in, maybe like Storm.
yeah.
So like, hey, I got my powers.
Or Nightcrawler.
Hey, Rogue. Yeah. But I was like, nope, he's fallen. Then you just hear a splat. I'm like,
Yeah.
so y'all not gonna, okay. But yeah, pretty much Rogue murked somebody, and then he just comes back as like,
Sentinel
this
Trask.
zombie. I don't know, what did you call it?
Sentinel Trask.
Is that what they're called?
No, I'm just making stuff up. It's a
Okay.
neat little nickname I came up with this one.
No, but like, yeah, they're like these zombie sentinels now, and I'm just like, how does this work? And also, how did it choose these people? Like, did they explain like why these people got turn.
Yeah. I think they all were anti-mutant to begin with, or like we're being, like we're tired of mutants taking over the world, and the new villain Bastion is like, hey, I got an idea for you. Why don't you embark on this thing? And he never tells them like, oh, I'm gonna take your body too and make it into a sentinel, and you're like, okay, okay.
But that's funny though, because like even the reporter is like one of them who's like has a thing with Beast, and I was like,
You're right.
okay.
Right, you're like, so are you a pro-mutant or anti-mutant? I'm confused. Like, even...
Same here.
I love the fact that the X-Men are being more aggressive when it comes to, like, well, if you don't want us, then we'll stop begging for tolerance. Because we have a right to say, like, Beast tells her that, and you're like, finally, you fucking say it. Alright.
Yeah, dude. I love that shit. Like, and especially like, I think this is the episode. It's Tolerance is Extinction.
Yeah, with Bastion, who's voiced by Isaac. Yeah, sorry, Hector from either I forgot his name. What's the name of the guy in Castlevania who would bring things to life? The dead things.
Yeah.
He's one.
I think it's.
Yeah,
I think it's Isaac. It's Isaac.
Yeah, but if you're wrong, please correct us in the comments. But yeah,
It's Hector and Isaac do the same thing, but like anyway.
Yeah, Theo James from The Maze Runner, or sorry, Divergent comes back to voice another badass animated character who's like he's a mutant that can talk to machines, and he's kind of half Sentinel too. And you're like, where the fuck did you come from? I've never heard of this guy in my life.
Same here. I was like, who's this little pink boy? And holy shit! Can I just say something about Bastion? This is how you fucking do a villain,
right?
Especially when you have a run time of like an hour or two.
Yeah.
Because we only see Bastion just for a bit, maybe 4 episodes or 3 episodes. But the amount of impact that Bastion has, as a villain, is so good. Like, it is really fucking good.
Yeah, and well, speaking of villains and cameos, the big bad of Marvel comes, and you're like, that's fucking Doctor Doom! Holy shit!
He's just like there in a video call. I was like,
yeah. Okay. I'm like, I that's why I love the cameos here. They don't make such a big deal. They don't steal the show. Yeah. You're just like, that's fucking Baron Zemo. That's fucking Doctor Doom. Holy shit!
Yeah. And there's more than just that, and I love it that they're like, yeah, they exist in this world, as well. Like, we see Spider-Man, we see like
Daredevil,
Samurai. Sorry, Daredevil's here as well.
And they're all
Captain America and Iron Man
in their classic like retro forms. You're like, all right, I dig it. And like going back to Bastion, I love his commentary on like, it feels like the writer's commentary on like modern society when it comes to saying atrocities on the news. Like first with the death of Charles, they felt bad for mutants, but like after Genosha and after their TVs were filled with images of what happened, people were just like, I kind of don't want to watch anymore, kind of don't care anymore. And it's such smart commentary on modern attitudes. It's like
that is true.
This show is set in the 90s, but it speaks so relevantly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess these kind of themes were always ongoing all throughout the years.
Yeah.
It's just, this show is kind of just doing its, like, finally being able to, like, put it on the spotlight. Like, this is how the world works, and sadly, it's the dark truth. And, yeah, they're right.
Yeah.
Like, if you keep seeing atrocities, if you keep seeing the horrible parts of the world, sometimes people will just stop watching.
Yeah.
It does get tiring. And I was like, damn.
Right?
Y'all got a point.
Yeah.
Even though there are some of us who are still like fighting to like kind of put it on spotlight.
Yeah. That's why the one UN secretary or US politicians like sets Magneto free. And then she's like, the most terrifying thing about Genosha is that the thought that Magneto was right, and you're like, oh, fuck.
I was like, shit. I love that though. I really do. By the way, yes, Magneto's alive.
Oh yeah, he's alive and well. And you're like, what's with all these fake death shenanigans? What the fuck?
Yeah, like even with Emma Frost and the others, I was like, ah,
Right,
playing with my heart.
right.
But yeah, yeah, like uh, Magneto's alive, and like they finally release him, and yeah, one of the UN, I guess, lady
Politicians.
secretaries,
Yeah.
politicians, finally says that line. I was just like, at some points, yeah,
Yeah.
Magneto has a fucking point, and I love it that they're like seeing it like we are wrong, and a majority of the time, yeah, we are wrong.
Yeah.
We are tolerating them. We're not accepting them into society. We're just tolerating them. And
Yeah.
it's not the right way to go at it. I'm like, yeah.
Also, going back a bit, like this animation really shows how much animation in general has pushed forward. Like the scene when Wolverine's fighting the Sentinels, and then the lady's like, "Give me one good reason why you don't accept your fate." And then he's like, "I got 6." And then Nightcrawler's like, "No, my friend, got 9." They start fighting together. You're like, sweet Jesus, the animation is sick.
I love it when like Nightcrawler like gets pushed against a wall and a couple of swords fall in front of him. I was like, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
I really know where this is going, and I love it.
Yeah, I love the scene where both Nightcrawler and Wolverine stab one guy, and then you see the how Nightcrawler transports through Wolverine's eyes. You're like, holy fuck! I wish live action pales in comparison to what animation can do with the X-Men in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, going back to Magneto, he does reverse the Earth's cores or magnetic fields, and you're like, well, shit, that's not good.
Yeah, and pretty much declares war on humanity. I'm like, I don't blame you.
Yeah. I do love that one callback to the original X-Men when Cyclops gives Cable his outfit and he's like, really? Are we going to a circus? And Cyclops is like, what? Did you expect black leather? You're like,
Nah, it was like, what was it? It was like, are we going to war or a circus? And it was
Yeah.
like, what'd you expect? Black spandex?
Yeah.
I was like, because it's a callback to the early 2000s X-Men where they were like, would you expect yellow spandex? And I
Yeah.
was like,
And
I'm there.
yeah, Wolverine gets the outfit that was teased in the Wolverine. You're like, fine, at least one Wolverine wears it. Hooray.
I love that outfit too, but sadly it was very short-lived.
Yeah, because while some of the X-Men invade Bastion's home turf, the others invade Asteroid M. And like,
Yeah.
him and Charles engage in a battle of words where Charles is speaking, and Magneto just goes.
I love it. It was like, I finally can say the words I've always wanted to say to you. Shut up. I was like, yeah. I'm okay. I'm all for Charles. I'm a very Team Charles kind of guy. But at some points, I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, because he's like, the world has made you better, and he just goes, he's like, can you please shut up? I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, and like,
Yeah.
I Morph is more powerful than I ever gave him credit for, because he can transform to anyone and their powers too, and you're like, who else can you do?
I feel like he's an Omega level mutant.
He has to be.
If he could do that.
Yeah.
But does Morph have like a Ben 10 kind of effect? Like he could only do it for like a couple of seconds?
Yeah. Even when the
I don't
stakes
know.
are getting so high at the end, I'm like, oh god, what's gonna Reed Richards? Jesus Christ, how many people do you have in your arsenal?
I'm guessing the entire Marvel team, because he even turned into Sinister. I was like, why didn't you use Sinister's powers?
Right? He can be the Juggernaut, which makes me question how strong those Sentinels are, because they toss the Juggernaut like it's nothing. You're like, holy fuck, how strong are these things?
Yeah, again, I need to look up a video or an explanation on Morph's powers, because
Yeah.
like, this is Omega level mutant powers, and I'm like, how long can it last, and does it take too much energy for him or something? There has to be a balance of like why he doesn't just turn into like Galactus and just like end it all.
Right? I need to do the same with Bastion, because he is the creation of every Sentinel, from past to like the future with Nimrod. You're like, this guy is crazy OP, and he just doesn't die. And I hope he's in season 2 as one of the 4 horsemen. Maybe, who knows?
Maybe because he didn't die in this one.
Yeah,
Or no, he did, but he got like sucked into like an explosion. Maybe he made it out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love Bastion. Like, we only get introduced to him like within maybe episode 8. Like we
7.
get like the exposition 7.
Yeah.
We get the exposition. We get all of that jazz, and we get to know him from there. And all of his speeches, all of his dialogues. I was like, this guy. Like, sure, we don't know him like the way we do with Magneto
Yeah.
and like the other bad guys. And they even kind of poke fun at it that he does show up in the old show, but he's just like a B side
character.
villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's like
And,
that in the comics too. Because I've never heard of this guy in my life.
Same, but I guess it's like a pretty big deal when he is the past, the present, and the future of Sentinels. And I'm like,
Yeah.
this guy seems like a pretty big bad guy in the X-Men universe. And he becomes that here, and I love it. Like,
Yeah.
like he does. I would say like go toe to toe with the X-Men, and I love that shit.
Yeah. The one of the X-Men gets everything ripped apart from them because Wolverine tries to stop Magneto, and then Magneto just removes all of the adamantium. You're like, so what the fuck do we do now?
I didn't know Magneto can do that.
Oh, he's done that in the comics. That's like a very classical moment, like how Bane breaks Batman. Like, he did that to Wolverine once, and Charles had to shut him down because he's like, Charles is like, that is pure villain shit right there. I need to stop you.
Yeah, it is, because I was like, how do we put that back in?
Right?
That's all I was wondering. I was like, how do we put this metal part back in?
Yeah, I don't think Wolverine would voluntarily do Weapon X again. He'd be like, not again, please. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very, like, the last battle is so intense, like, on the ground and in space, because at the same time you think Cable kills Jean, and you're like, oh fuck, what do we do now? What the fuck, how are we winning this? This is the season 1 finale, not the series finale, right?
I love it that like him and like Scott Summers kind of have this father and son resolution to each other, and like they finally like gain respect for each other.
He finally
when
acknowledges Jean as his mom, and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, very weird. Like the entire time, it's like, you're not my mom. I'm like,
you're not my
"Alright."
mom. You're not. Well, you are my dad. Never mind.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, and then Jean gets the Phoenix powers to defeat Sinister, and he's like, yuck, I'm ugly now. Don't look at me.
I love what Morph does. Is like, it's like, show me what I look like. It's like, still look the same to me.
And then they battle Bastion, and everybody is having a hard time, and in your mind you're like, does this guy not die? What the fuck is happening?
And like he removes like he removes Cable's arm and then transforms
Bitch slaps
into,
him.
like beats the shit out of him first, and then like transforms into this like ultimate version, like cell version 4 or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck?
Right? He's like, this is my final form. I do love the callback when Rogue's like, his name was Gambit, remember it, and does the Superman tackle, but like she gets stopped in her tracks, and you're like, Jesus Christ.
But hey man, like Rogue was kind of giving it to him. Like,
right?
She was beating shit out of him. Like right next to his ear, she like does the super clap, and like it fucks him up. And I'm like, yeah.
And at the end, when they're all about to beat Bastion, Cyclops is like, nah, we can be better. And you're kind of like, really, man? This guy can't die, and he's cruelly rooting for your extinction. You're like, yeah, join our team. You're like, why, Scott? Why? But sure, you do you.
Yeah.
I mean, you are the pupil of Charles Xavier, and that makes sense.
I love the the fact that like at the start of this battle we were kind of divided, kind of like it was very how do you call it, the Infinity War where the team is divided.
Oh,
some are fighting in space. Yeah. No.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, some were on the ground, some were in space, just dealing with different shit. And yeah, Charles Xavier's just occupied and having this moment of like trying to convince Eric just to be like, could you just please calm down?
You're right.
Are we your friends?
Yeah. I love it that he looks at the boat, and again, the show proves it's the king of cameos because you see like other X-Men, like that's Rogue, that's Scarlet Witch, that's fucking Quicksilver. All right, going.
Who's the lady in green again? I forgot her name.
Oh, his daughter Polaris.
Polaris, yeah.
Yeah, going back a bit, like, how? What was your reaction when Sunspot reveals that to his mom he's a mutant, and then she's like, "Okay, can you keep it to yourself?" You're like, "That's sad."
Yeah.
Again,
No,
pretty
but
good
it
commentary is pretty top notch here.
because like you can that can be interpreted in so many ways, and I love the show for that. Where this can be somebody who's either coming out, like, or revealing their sexuality, or either revealing a mental illness, and they finally have like a safe space to say it. And then you find out that safe space is also like, keep it to yourself. I love you, but keep it to yourself. And I'm like, that, and sure, that is a certain way of meeting halfway with somebody, but it is not the right way to go at it.
Yeah.
And I love it that they kind of sneak that in there.
Yeah.
Like just a little bit. And then because the actual relationship of that is when shit hits the fan and it relates to your problem, that person's not going to be there for you.
Yeah. That's why when characters change sides or become who they are, like when Sunspot and Rogue join Magneto, you're kind of like, I don't blame you. I can't blame you. For Rogue witnessed a genocide, a massacre in Genosha, and Sunspot was just told to keep it in. Like, his parents don't accept them, and he's like, I have nowhere to go. Magneto is the only one who's making sense here, while Charles' vision has been shown its flaws, and even Charles admits, like, yeah, coexistence is messy, but it's worth it. But like, Sunspot and Rogue are just tired of like, can we stop trying to coexist? Maybe we are better than humanity. Like, even the aliens are like, ew, mutants, Charles is less than them. Like, oh, for fuck's sake, the mutants can never catch a break. The one shit's hitting the fan and Asteroid M, like, Bastion's like, fine, if I can't have my future, no one will have a future, and he decides to Age of Ultron Asteroid M, and you're like, Jesus Christ. Again, I thought it was the season 1 finale, not the fucking series finale, man. What the fuck is happening?
I love that, because, well, I guess that's what the X-Men usually deal with. And, yeah, I love Bastion here. I swear to God, like, this character is so good, and I really hope that he comes back in, like, later seasons.
Yeah.
Because the commentary that he has, like, especially just, like, the itty-bitty, like, how ironic. The students of Charles never learned.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn.
Right.
And he was supposed to be the first X-Men.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be the first student with the likes of, like, Jean Grey and Scott Summers. And we're like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Though when his mom, Bastion's mom, starts doing this shit, I was like, Jesus Cristo. No. Why? Yeah.
But, like, very odd, though, is that I guess they do come back together, but it's very weird because you see these Sentinels, like, being ripped apart.
Yeah.
Like, especially by Wolverine. And I'm like, are they dead?
Right?
Are they dead? I don't know.
Right? But they are clearly a threat. Like, even they're not even the White House safe. Like, the president is being guarded by Cap and Iron Man, and even they're like, dog, I don't think we're going to win this. Even Black Panther's like, I think Wakanda's done for, not gonna lie.
Well, he didn't go down without a fight. You saw him.
Right?
He was like, alright, you want to fuck with us?
Right? But yeah, Asteroid is crashing, the music, the theme starts being sad. You're like, what the fuck is going to happen? And then Magneto comes to his senses, brings them up to space, and then the asteroid disappears, and you're like, the fuck? Did they Death Star? Did they just evaporate? Did they Thanos?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know Magneto can do that.
Alright, I was like, could have sworn your power's metal manipulation. What the fuck was that?
Yeah. Also, I love that scene where, like, Fleur. Yeah, you can tell that like Wolverine really does have it down bad for Jean Grey, and he's like trying to whisper her name while he's like unconscious, and then Morph just it's just a bro. It's like, look, I know she won't say it, but I'll do.
Right? Like, a true bro till the end. And then Scott and Jean are transported to the future, and then the rest, Beast, Magneto, Rogue, Charles, are transported back in time, and you're like, oh, Egypt. Okay, who are we going to meet here? And they see this one guy trying to handle business, and you're like, there's something up with your face.
I was like, it's a little apocalyptic.
Yeah.
And then you see like Scott and like Jean like get sent into like what 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit.
Right.
And then that's when they meet boy
Nathan.
Boy Nathan.
Yeah. Then my question is like, where the fuck is Morphin? Wolverine. Poor Wolverine was in life support when the asteroid disappeared.
That's a good point. Where did they go?
Right.
Oh, I'm guessing it's with Scott. Like for sure it's with Scott, and because they were in the same like Blackbird.
Yeah.
Sorry. What do you call it again?
X-Jet.
The X-Jet. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they asked the good Egyptian man, like, what's your name? It's like, my name is En Sabanur, and like, and Magneto and Rogue are like, ah, fuck.
Yeah. And they're like, we know this guy.
Right. And then you get the post-credit scene, and you're like, oh shit. He's like, oh, so much pain, my children, so much death. He's holding Gambit's card. You didn't see the post-credit scene? No. So we know Gambit's coming back, but not in the state he wants to come back in. Because he's one of the 4 horsemen now. He's dead, essentially. And you see old Apocalypse, you're like, oh fuck, I can't wait for season 2.
Oh, what the fuck? Look, I hate it when shows does this. When they're like, they're not gonna show anything all throughout the credits. But then shows that at the end. I'm like, okay, I'll go look at it. God damn it! I didn't know that was the case.
Oh, you were so yeah. I guess Apocalypse is the main bad of season 2, and I really can't wait for season 2 if that's the case, because season 1 is the banger of a season, and I don't know how they will ever top this off. But if they do, Jesus Christ, it's going to be one of the greatest comebacks ever.
I love it. I love every single bit of the last 2 episodes, where the main villain, absolutely amazing introduction and amazing climax to his arc. Again, hopefully he comes back. I love it that they all go back to their classic outfits as well.
Yeah.
Like even Magneto, I love his like sexy like outfit in the first part of the show, but then once he went back to like the purple and the red, I'm like,
fits better.
Very nice. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I would love to have a Magneto like figure.
Yeah. Same here. But yeah, this show, honestly, this show did more than I ever expected it to do. Because I'm like, alright, that's just another Sunday cartoon. Back to the 80s and 90s. And then you watch the show, like, what they do.
Existential crisis.
Yeah, what they do, what they say, what the story is. You're like, Jesus Christ, I don't remember this ever being that hard-hitting. Which makes me excited for the other shows coming back. Like, Batman's coming back, but then like a 1940s noir setting. So
I would like that.
Yeah.
I would love that. Yeah. Again, I just wish that they would stick to this. To this kind of like have the soul and the heart of the original, but have a mixture of like real life problems. A little bit like to keep the older audience engaged.
Yeah.
Like these are things as us as older audience are now experiencing.
Yeah.
And that is like the entire message of X-Men, where hypocrisy, racism, and like, you know, speciesism.
Yeah.
And us being able to identify with it and being able to like relate to each and every character. And they make it very apparent here now compared to like the old TV series.
Yeah.
For sure, there were some themes, But here it's translated and represented a little bit better now with better writing and better animation to show us like these are very real problems in a cartoon, in a very beautifully made cartoon. And I don't like it when people say that cartoon is like somewhat of a degrading word to a TV series, but in and of itself, it's an amazing cartoon animated series.
It just goes to show that I forgot who said it, but it was Guillermo del Toro saying that animated shows aren't just for children; they are another medium to tell stories, and X-Men '97 clearly shows that. But yeah, to wrap things up, what would you rate season 1 of X-Men '97?
I would rate X-Men 97 a solid 9 out of 10. I loved every single thing about it. Sadly, I'm refraining from giving it a 10 out of 10 because there were some themes here that I was not a fan of, which is the love triangle between Rogue and Magneto, because that was done again in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I thought we were done with it. But it kind of came back and didn't really go anywhere besides tearing poor Remy LeBeau apart
Right.
and then dying. I'm like, all right, at least he comes back. But other than that one little gripe where I'm like, I don't think that really led anywhere.
Yeah.
This show really did capture the soul and heart of the old TV series of like what we grew up with, and they're adapting newer and more adult themes. This show technically grew up with us,
Yeah.
and that's what I love. They're not sticking to like, oh, it's just an X-Men of the week,
Yeah.
like kind of TV series. No, there is a solid story. But yeah, it is now a bit more adult, and yeah, you can see these themes here. And would you agree that like you can show your kids this?
Maybe when they're like maybe 11 or 12, yeah, or 13.
Yeah. I don't think this TV series is like right for like how we watched it before when we were like 7 or 8.
Yeah, especially
or even,
the
like, 5.
Genosha episode where we're like, Jesus Christ, that's heavy.
Yeah, so maybe get them to their teens, let them know the concept of death, and yeah, like I guess you could watch it, but other than that, this show is a 9 out of 10. It's a near perfect TV series, and I can't wait for season 2 and whatever they got lined.
Yeah. But yeah, I will also give this a 9 out of 10. Like, the only gripes I have is that one episode with Jubilee where it's like a video game and you're like, okay, it's fun. And then
It was
next is Genosha, you're like, oh god, what a red herring.
Yeah, because it was like, here's a little bit of chaser, then boom, tequila. I'm like, okay.
Right?
I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and the love triangles, the one being Jean, Wolverine, and Scott, and the other one being Remy, Magneto, and Rogue. You're like, I can do without that. And some of the inconsistencies, like the first episode when Remy lights up Wolverine's claws and they don't explode, you're like, I don't think your powers work like that. I really don't.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, unless like, it would be cool if they had like that one detail where maybe his arms do blow up and then it just regenerates.
Right?
That would have made more sense, but that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So I don't know how Gambit's powers work.
Logan's not like, what the fuck are you doing, man? We're fighting.
Yeah.
But yeah, aside from that, I do agree. Like, the show grew up alongside the audience. Like, it's been 30 years since the original. Like, a lot has happened. Like, the world has changed. There's been hopes have been made, and some of those same hopes and dreams have been crushed. Wars have happened. There have been 2 genocides in between the shows, and you're like, oh Jesus Christ. And when Bastion says what he says, you're like, all right, I forgot there's been 2 major genocides between this one and that one. Fuck. And then, but it's so smartly written. It's so relevant today, and even though you're like, I could have sworn this was written during the 90s, but it feels like it's more relevant now than ever, which I do appreciate. And like the animation proves that animation is really evolving and is becoming a king among the mediums of how to tell a story. I bet in like 30 years from now, or like not even 20, if you people are still calling this like a medium for children, I think you'd be like, all right, boomer, that's been way past your day, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I would gladly sit them down and like watch this.
right? Just skip
Look
forward.
into the themes, and if you miss it, then you are the problem.
Right. I'll be like, you know what? Let's fast forward to the Genosha episode. You understand X-Men, right? But yeah, it's a very good show. And again, the small like complimentary thing I will say is that it does handle cameos well, where it's not like in your face. You're just like, that's Steve Rogers, that's Doctor Doom, that's the fucking Hulk. Jesus Christ, how many powers
Yeah,
do you have?
Like, we even see Doctor Strange here, where he's like
Right.
doing operations, but like, again, it's not in your face of like, they're here. Not gonna lie though. Think about it. We might get a proper Civil War now if they do this right.
Right? Imagine if there's a civil war and the X-Men are like, no, well, that's not our problem. You don't support us anyway. But yeah, 9 out of 10s. It's a very good show in general, and it's one of the best. You know what? It's the best thing Marvel has done in a fucking while. You know?
I agree, and people do say like Loki is pretty good. We have yet to finish that. But other than that, yeah, like Marvel hasn't been really. It hasn't had a great track record as of recent, and giving us X-Men 97, I'm like, thank you.
Right?
And I feel like executives didn't touch this one.
Right?
I really do feel like executives didn't touch anything about this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's good.
Though
That's
on a final note, I'm surprised Deadpool never made a cameo here. I was like, of all the mutants that made a cameo, Ryan Reynolds.
I feel like they're gonna, after they release the Deadpool movie, the one with Wolverine in it, that's when they'll start like sneaking Deadpool in. That's for sure. He's gonna get like a device to like. He has a device that jumps through universes.
Yeah.
They're just trying to make sure that he's. They're saving him for the movie, and I can't wait for the Deadpool movie because he is part of the TVA now.
Yeah, as the only MCU property coming out this year, so hopefully they continue the trend of really good Marvel mutant themed stuff. But anything else to add before we wrap this up?
Did you already ask this question?
Which one?
Where like what old 90s to early 2000s TV show would you like to have this kind of treatment?
I think I did in the beginning, but we can ask it again.
All right, because I think I did say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You know what? Fuck it. I would like Thundercats to get this treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't. And they had like an anime version where everybody was like very anime-esque. They weren't like the buff kind of He-Man-esque drawings.
Yeah.
I would like for Thundercats to come back in like the Masters of the Universe Netflix TV series style.
Yeah.
That'd be sick. I think you said like Street Sharks one time.
I did. You know what? That's because I was scratching the bottom of the barrel. Can't think of any. You know what? I would like Spawn to get a reboot, and like its proper
That
form.
would be a good. Batman Beyond, I would love to see like the continuation.
Oh god, I fucking hate the fact they canceled that movie. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
I hate how like the executives were just like, "Oh, we don't see like money in this." I'm like, you mean we would fucking pay for this, you idiots?
Right? You really don't see any money in fucking Batman? What? That's a rant for another day, but sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's been our video for X-Men 97 Season 1. What do you guys think? Who's your favorite character? Who's your favorite cameo? Either like not by Morph or by Morph himself. Comment down below. And what do you think? Who do you think is going to make an appearance in Season 2 other than Apocalypse? I would like to see Archangel in that one. But if you like our videos, please leave a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok. TikTok to see your best and funniest moments, and Spotify to yours on the go. And the video ends with Letterboxd and Zoda's voices on TikTok. Where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me at JohnGM_ on Instagram. It is my account.
And until the next video, we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.